Hey, welcome to Integrated, a podcast for entrepreneurial couples who want to build a high-impact career and an exceptional partnership. I'm Jason Gaddis, one of the hosts here, and I'm CEO and founder of the Relationship School. I train coaches, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur.
And I'm Ellen Bader, a psychotherapist, coach, and teacher. Jason and I have been facilitating transformational work for over 60 years combined. We've been married for almost 20 years and run our own businesses while raising 2 teenagers. When we're not juggling work and parenthood, we love to get out in nature as far as we can and play.
Our job here is to bring cutting-edge science, practical tools, and a deep view of how to juggle all of these things and have an awesome family, partnership, and business.
We're glad you're here.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Integrated, a podcast for entrepreneurial couples where we support you with the big endeavor of partnering, even parenting, and working together.
And the immense challenge that can be with life is already challenging, and you taking on trying to have an impact in the world, doing your own business, your startup or whatever, both of you or one of you, and you're trying to prioritize each other and
have a great relationship,
have a great family life,
and
it's hard.
And recognizing it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot. Yeah. So that's primarily who we're talking to. Of course, this can help you if that's not you. We're primarily talking about how couples just can kick ass in life.
Yeah. Have a great relationship and a great life. Yeah.
Because we know that if we have a great relationship and we prioritize this and we do well here most of the time, life's a little easier.
So these are the other stuff
so damn
is
hard.
More manageable if we feel like we're doing it together.
Yeah. All right. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about attachment, and we're going to probably spend a few episodes talking about what is attachment. Why is it so in the collective right now? You know, what is having people so interested in this idea and this theory? And why does it matter for entrepreneurial couples, for partners, parents? What is it and what do we do with it and why does it matter?
Yeah. So a couple comes in with a basic communication problem. This is very often you that's listening, you have communication issues, right? You can't seem to get on the same page. You
don't feel heard or understood.
Yeah, you don't repair your fights very well. You're too busy to go back and review it, and they start building up.
You don't know how to resolve things.
Yeah, you're annoyed because you're like, God, this shouldn't be so hard. Why shouldn't this be easier? And then you start kind of maybe blaming your partner about that. Yeah, so that's really common. So partner A, a communication challenge can kind of split the couple in usually what happens over time. And you'll see this pattern in your relationship where one of you is interested in trying to talk it out and figure it out and gets maybe complainy, or it's like, hey, I have something to say. I have needs over here. I want to work through this. And the other partner of the couple feels challenged because it's like, I can't get it right for you. This is a lot. I just kind of want to retreat back to work, back to my phone, back to email, back to the tasks. Because I don't know how to please you.
Right.
And it's
Seems
just
like you always have a complaint.
And it's the more you talk, the more stressful it's getting for me. So I want to just withdraw more.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to help to try to talk it through. We don't do that well.
Yeah. And then as that partner retreats more, of course, it upsets the talkative partner even more because they get like, hey, now I feel deprioritized even more.
Yeah. And that person even starts to seem kind of needy to the partner that doesn't want to do all this talking and talk about all the problems and complaints they have. Like, they're like, God, you need a lot. You're always frustrated with me. And then the partner that is struggling to have those conversations is seen as like, you don't care, you don't value this relationship, you're selfish, things like that.
Yeah. So Ellen, what's going on here below the surface?
Yeah. So this is
common communication challenge.
Right. And you know this too, that this is not just a communication problem.
Right.
In fact, that's really not the issue. It is potentially most likely based on attachment stuff, attachment material.
Yeah. And
so what does that mean? That's what we're trying to unpack today, is like, how do we even understand that?
Yeah. And
what is going on here if it's an attachment issue?
Right. And we want you to know this because we think knowing this stuff will help you get through those communication challenges more effectively. You'll make yourself and your partner less wrong, and maybe you'll have a little more compassion and care and understanding and empathy based on how they're wired and how they do things.
And how you're wired and how you do things. Like self-understanding too makes such a big difference. Like, oh, that's what's going on for me. It's not that you're this huge problem. Like I'm struggling over here with something too. So, or I struggle to do certain things as well. You know, both of us, we always have room to grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens, like people get married in a long-term relationship. Why is this different? And this obviously shows up in marriages, and it also shows up in parent-child relationships, which we'll talk about later. Right. And it shows up even in business partnerships where, what's the feature? What makes this different than our friendships and other relationships?
Yeah. So what makes, marriages or partners, kids and parents, and even some business partners, if there's like a high stakes investment in the business situation, different than friendships, is attachment. And what that means is, attachment is this biological imperative we have from birth to bond psychologically and emotionally to other human beings, in particular the ones that are taking care of us. So attachment begins in our earliest relationship, which is the one we have with our caregivers. And it goes on throughout life with the people we come to depend on most as adults. So initially, we're depending on our parents for survival. So this is a biological imperative we have to survive. Babies are born with all these attributes and capacities to bond deeply and to elicit care from their caregivers, because without that, they won't make it. And then as we grow, we as children adapt to the relational environment of our caregivers, their capacities, their values, the ways they operate in the world, under stress, with each other. As children, we're adapting to that whole scene. And it's very unconscious, and most of the stuff isn't talked about, and doesn't matter because we figure it out anyway. We figure out how to get our needs met. We figure out how to deal with big feelings or not deal with them. We figure out how to maintain connection, how to take care of ourselves emotionally and psychologically without ever talking about it with anybody. And then we become an adult who now is in romantic relationships where we start to depend on each other again for emotional support, for deep psychological connection and understanding, deep physical bonding. Physical bonding is a huge part of attachment, because that's a primary language of an infant and child. And it's a primary part of being romantic partners. Yeah. And then the longer you're together, so after 1 to 2 years and beyond that, attachment feelings and the attachment system, this whole system within our brain and body, gets elicited and activated in our most important relationships, the ones where we are depending on each other the most and investing the most and feel the most vulnerable. Yeah. Potentially, like that we could really get hurt here if it doesn't go well. Yeah, and the more you open, the more kind of scary and vulnerable it gets, because now this person, you've bared your soul to this person, you're depending on them, you've maybe joined finances, you've started a business together, maybe you've had a kid or two together, you have a mortgage, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, the stakes are getting higher. Yeah, we are intertwined on every level. We have gone in really deep. And it's not easy to get out, as we know, and it's not pleasant. And it, especially in our society, the way it's built now, it's not like we just pick up our sleeping pad and go to another hut. Like we have major challenges to overcome. financially and family dynamics wise, if we want to make a change there. And so we have heavy investment, heavy stakes. And yeah, we feel, it really matters how you treat me, how you respond to my distress, how we take care of each other, how we handle each other, even on a day-to-day basis about normal day-to-day things, let alone when a big life event happens, like a big loss or a big unforeseen thing like an illness. How we go through that together really, really matters. There's a lot to navigate there.
Yeah. And we think entrepreneurial couples there's even a little more stress in the system potentially, and dependency. The stakes get a little higher because of the risks the entrepreneurial person or people are taking.
Yeah.
They're on the move. It's fast. So the couple needs to be almost more agile than a couple who's like, I just have a job for 40 years, the same job. It's a little more stagnant, you could say.
Or predictable. It's like more predictable, or there's less variables. There's less you're in charge of.
Yeah. And as we've said before, if you're married to an entrepreneur, it's like being dragged behind a car that's moving really fast and you don't really know where you're going.
I mean, hopefully it's not like that.
Hopefully, but that's often what it's like for people.
For me.
Yeah, for you.
I've said that phrase. But hopefully it's like, wait, we're trying not to have it feel that way very much.
It's a big adventure. I mean, it's kind of like you're just traveling into the unknown a lot.
Yeah.
So even more important is this attachment stuff for you.
Yeah. Yes, because there are more layers to the vulnerabilities of the situation you're in, and really depending on each other, like trusting that you've got it, or trusting that I've got your back. And, that goes even bigger when it's also your career and your financial stability and future that is at stake in some ways. So this is this biological layer. It's very deep in our bodies and minds. It's very unconscious, this attachment system that we have. And so the example you gave of this couple that's having this, like, hey, we need to talk about something, or I have an issue with something, or something isn't working for me. And then the partner in that's receiving that is like, oh God, here we go again. Or like, now what do you want from me? And why don't you ever just appreciate me for who I am and what I do? That is, what's happening there is that conversation is activating this, attachment system, this sense of how we deal with the people we depend on and their big feelings, their needs, and this relationship. It's like, how do we operate in this relationship and take care of ourselves? And hopefully also be interested in what you need and what's good for you and what's good for our relationship. Most people just kind of go into that, I just got to take care of myself here. I got to talk about what I'm upset about, or I got to get away from your upset because that's really stressful and it doesn't feel very good. That's not working through towards more security. Yeah.
And if you're listening, you want to kind of identify with one side or the other. Are you more of the talker or the withdrawer? Do you go into self-protection, or do you want to do you get kind of annoyed and want to talk it out? So, and then notice that we're saying couples get really stuck on the communication part, not being aware of this thing that's going on underneath the surface.
Like what I might be activating in you on a deeper level when I'm coming to you with complaints, or what you might be activating for me on a deeper level if you just want to distance and isolate whenever I seem upset about something.
Yeah.
Those two people are stuck in a more insecurely oriented, insecurely directed attachment dynamic.
And so the stress that they're experiencing pushes them into their pattern.
Yeah.
And the pattern of, again, retreating or speaking, complaining, whatever it is.
In a way that
is ineffective often and doesn't get them what they want. And then they get more revved up.
Yeah.
Why is this so hard? What is my problem? What is their problem? I can't figure this out.
Right. And it's ineffective because what's happening is you're really just starting to think only about yourself. And so let's back it up a little bit, because we have this attachment system, and it can operate in a securely oriented way or an insecurely oriented way. And you may have heard about secure and insecure attachment. And so part of what, I mean, again, we could unpack this for hours, but trying to make it simple here, you know, if you're oriented towards an insecurely attached way of functioning in relationships, you're going to think about yourself a lot more than you're the relationship itself. You're going to think about, what do I need? What do I want? What's uncomfortable for me? What do I like or not like? And just sort of that's as far as you go.
Yeah.
So that, of course, as you say, that's ineffective when someone's like, hey, I need to talk. And someone's like, well, I can't deal with this. It's like, of course, there's no way to work through that together.
Yeah, because they're both thinking about themselves.
They're both just really they're protecting themselves, right? Or maybe those people learned, like, really the best thing to do in a relationship when there's stress is to really just focus on what's good for me.
Yeah.
And that is actually that's coming from an insecurely attached system that you learned about.
Yeah. And that's right. And that's probably, you could look back, rewind the tapes and go, oh, that's kind of what I had to do as a kid.
Yeah.
Even, I just want to clarify, sometimes the more anxious, talkative partner, they'll say, no, all I do is think about the other person. And just to clarify, like, well, look closely. You're thinking about the other person. And let's go back to childhood first. You're thinking about mom or dad, and you're worried, like, wait, do I have connection with them or not? Or, oh my God, this is scary. You're thinking about yourself, right? You're trying to get them to do something so that you feel okay. Them to be less violent, less aggressive, come back and talk to you, whatever. So that you're like, And that's what ends up happening with an adult partner is we think we're like really tracking and considering the other person, but it's all about so that I can get relief.
Yeah. So I can feel less anxious.
And it's whereas the more avoidant or withdrawing partner, it's really kind of obvious that they're thinking about themselves.
Right. That's true. Like how you put that the more anxious person, it looks like they're thinking about the other person in the relationship. But for the more, the distancing person, the person who pulls away, it doesn't feel that way.
Right.
Right. It feels like you're just pointing out what you think is wrong with me. And so you're right. It's coming from anxiety and insecurity versus, hey, let's together look at and discuss how we're both feeling here, what's working, what's not working. What do it doesn't seem like it includes this kind of person who wants to pull away.
Yeah.
In the dialogue.
Yeah. So Ellen was just describing kind of we're just kind of hanging out with the insecure version of an attached couple as adults.
Yeah. And people really confuse us with a communication issue. Like, as we said, they're like, well, we just can't seem to talk about it. And it's because, this is where we're like, if we can help you understand attachment better, this dynamic is going to start to shift and you're going to start to see ways out of it.
Yeah. And you'll communicate better.
So, we're sort of painting an example of what like an insecure attachment system in a partnership looks like. What about secure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
secure, it doesn't mean perfect.
Not at all.
Or
connection all the time.
Or everything's easy and we never have issues. That's not what that means.
Yeah.
So if you have some fantasy about it, we're going to help you not have one, but have a realistic understanding of what it takes.
Yeah. Why don't you start and I'll add?
Okay. So, I think a more secure attachment dynamic between adult partners involves one where that you've got to consider the other person and that they matter just as much in the situation as you. So if I put myself in those shoes on my best days, I am, which hopefully you see, are I'm considering you as I consider myself. So it might be like, hey, I'm sure you're under some stress and feeling like you've got a lot going on, and I can see that, and I want to know more about that. And I'm also noticing that like we've kind of drifted a little, and we're not spending as much time together, and I don't feel great about that. And I'd love for us to kind of make sure we're not losing sight of each other here, because I think we both would benefit from staying connected.
Yeah. And my response would be, thanks. That feels really good to hear.
Yeah.
And I can imagine I am. And then I go into considering her. Yeah. I've been a little edgy and stressed out. And I'm guessing that's kind of bristly to be around and isn't fun and probably isn't very inviting for you. Mm-hmm. And I also feel the distance, and I don't like that. I actually do want, a bigger part of me wants to just feel good with you. Mm-hmm. So what do we need to do?
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully you're hearing in that, like, people are like, we just need to communicate better. And like, that was better communication. Yes. But it was based on an understanding that if I have an issue that I'm bringing up to Jayson, I need to bring it in a way where he feels considered, where our relationship is what I care most about. And basically, if I care about our relationship the most, that means I care about his well-being and mine equally. So whatever we do has to be good for both of us and our partnership. So that means how we fight, how we bring up concerns, how we connect, how our intimacy feels to both. Like, it's got to work for both of us. And we need to be in dialogue about that. I need to be thinking about you and myself in order to be an advocate for our relationship, feeling like it's good for not just me, but you too.
Yeah. And you might, if you've listened to earlier episodes, you'll hear the standing for three description that Ellen just gave, right? Standing for three is I stand for myself, my partner, and the relationship. It's got to be good for me, you, and us.
Yeah.
And so that's what secure attachment starts to look and feel like.
Yeah. So,
and we're on the same team. We're not at odds.
Yeah.
Even though we are at odds at times,
yes,
we realize to stay at odds and to continue to be right and wrong and blame and defend actually hurts the team. Mm-hmm. It's not good for the team.
Right.
And so we go, oh, right. And we begin to change our behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, if I just keep finding fault with how you're performing on our team, that gets a little demoralizing for you, because you're probably also doing things that contribute to the team and you're showing up in some ways. Or what if you really are struggling and I'm just totally missing that and not trying to empathize or understand you at all? Like, there's so many ways I could handle him that convey that I'm more important than he is, or his challenges are not as important as my needs, or whatever it is. Like, I could convey an inequity very easily.
Yeah.
Unless I'm really, really understanding of and committed to this idea that no, this is about both of us. Mm-hmm. And I need to understand you better all the time. And so I think when you grow up in a family system where the relationships are prioritized, where you really get the sense that, things aren't perfect. We don't perfectly get along. Yes, we have conflict. Sometimes we get disappointed. We hurt each other's feelings. Like, all that's pretty normal, but things between us get repaired.
Yeah.
In a more securely oriented family system, they get acknowledged and tended to. We feel like who we are and how we're built and what's important to us matters to the system. When we're kids, we're not supposed to lead the family. Our parents are supposed to lead the family, but our feelings and our experience matters and we feel cared about. Mm-hmm. So, when you come to adulthood and you're doing shared leadership and mutual partnership, which is actually very complex to do, you have some sense of how to consider another person because you were considered, or you have some maybe even self-awareness of like, I'm really good at these things, but I'm not that good at these things. And there isn't a lot of shame or judgment against oneself because that wasn't made wrong your whole childhood, right? You're like, oh, you're this is just you. And it's not like right or wrong or good or bad. It's just how things are. Like in a securely oriented family, you grow up with like a lot of capacities for complexity and for relationship. And in a more insecurely oriented family system, you grow up having to kind of prioritize oneself as much as you can, because that's what other people are doing, or deprioritizing relationships, or prioritizing performance, or prioritizing independence, like all these other things besides connection become important in an insecure family. And then you get into a partnership, and after a year or two, the relationship both people will start to feel like our relationship is not very important to my partner. I'm not very important to my partner. I'm not a priority. How I feel, what I think isn't a priority. We get upset and hurt about that, and we don't know how to deal with it very well. And then we think we have communication problems.
Yeah.
But in reality, we probably also have some attachment system challenges here that we could learn how to navigate. We can learn how to function more securely as a couple, despite our attachment history. That's what's so cool, is with the right guidance and understanding, people can get this. Because there's kind of nothing else you can, like, there's no other way to go.
Yeah.
But to learn how to do this better.
Yeah. And because you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you're a learner, you're happy to learn in your business and about growth and money and marketing and all the things that you have to learn about. And you will do that because you're motivated. You got to apply that same mindset to your marriage and your family system. And then you totally have a shot at moving from insecure to secure. That's the movement. And I want to underline a couple of things Ellen said there, that repair, like the conflict is inevitable for the rest of your relationship. So you might as well if that's true, you might as well get good at repair. And it's actually that conflict, repair, tension, and release, and like reconnection that builds security and strength inside the system, which is your marriage or your partnership. So it's not the absence of conflict. This is what some people that want an easy relationship, they get into huge problems because they're very conflict avoidant. And because there's conflict coming up, they're all resentful and this shouldn't be happening. And because they want a fantasy, which is, we don't have any issues. And those people stay in very insecure adult relationships. So we want to have a resilient growth mindset that's like, I can handle adversity. I can handle big feelings. I can handle challenges between us because I'm motivated to repair with you. I'm going to learn how, and this is hard, but I'm going to learn how. And that effort both of you put in will build strength in the foundation of the relationship. And that's kind of what we're after. So that's one of the strongest features of a securely attached partnership. It's the ability to handle miscommunications and conflicts like a team. Yeah, repair is where security is built. And so if you have no conflict, you have no repair, and you are not going to have security. Yeah. It's because it's built through the getting back to a good place, learning about each other, working through things. And if you both believe that it's okay to be different, it's okay to have differences. Some couples really, at a certain point, differences start to feel really threatening. It's like, oh, it seemed like we were the same for so long. And, and now we're really different, and you're not who I thought you were, kind of happens. Yeah. And sure, there's some differences and some deal breakers that do occur. But a lot of times we're just dealing with different temperaments, some different values in terms of even just cleanliness or messiness or organization and disorganization or whatever. Yep. And we don't know how to deal with that. It's like, I want to change you and make you more like me. And then we won't have as much conflict. And again, it's all a fantasy. That doesn't feel good to anyone. Yeah. And yes, we can grow and develop. Yes, we can work on our weaknesses. But when you feel like your partner wants you to be a fundamentally different person, or doesn't accept you as you are in the ways you're put together, even value or appreciate those things, which hopefully
you can. Again, we're back to just either conflict avoiding or being in so much conflict we don't have any connection. And so all of this is impacts how we feel in terms of our security and insecurity. And again, if we can't learn how to repair, tolerate difference, tolerate the complexity of another person and the complexity of being in a mutual partnership, we are going underwater fast.
Yeah. 100%.
And most of us have no idea what we're getting into when we choose to be partners, right? Like you have no idea
Clueless.
how actually psychologically complex this is.
And demanding and intense.
And it requires a lot of presence and curiosity and interest. And I think if you're a parent, you probably have a lot more capacity, presence, and interest and curiosity about your own child. Cause I think for parents as kids, like we get that. We're like, God, they're, it's easier to kind of show up and do that, even though it's not easy. But partners need a similar thing. We are still depending on each other. And yes, we're adults. And yes, we need to understand ourselves and be able to advocate for ourselves and know ourselves. But we also need to be able to advocate for our partner, know our partner, keep learning our partner, staying interested in them. And that generates a lot of good connection that will be there when you do get into a conflict. Because we don't want people running into conflicts when they're already feeling deprioritized, like the relationship doesn't matter, like who they are isn't appreciated. If that couple gets into a conflict, it's just loaded with bad feelings.
Yeah.
And then conflicts are really hard to resolve. And then they might also be a couple that isn't good at resolving or repairing. So it's like, you can see how this really snowballs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so stressful. I just want to use a metaphor because it keeps coming up in my brain. Okay. So imagine you're sitting on the dock as a couple, you're just sitting there and there's two sailboats. And in one sailboat, there's a couple that's just like, let's go out there on the adventure and we're ready for any storm, right? And another couple that's on the other sailboat and they're hoping for no storms. And they go out and they leave the dock and you're sitting there waiting and when they come back, you're going to have to choose which boat you want to get on. And they're off for like, let's say a month. And one couple for some reason gets really lucky and there's no storms for 30 days. None. And they come back and they're just like, they're just connected and they're like, everything's great. And the other couple went through some shit and the storms came and nearly tipped over the boat and they had to like really work together and there were sharks and they had all kinds of challenges and they came back and they were high-fiving each other and feeling strong and capable. Which boat would you want to get on? Right? Which boat is going to last another 30 days and another 30 days and another 30 days? Right. We want to build the capacity and resiliency for dealing with storms and knowing how to navigate challenges like a team.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to ultimately make us strong for the journey called our life.
Right. Because life is coming at us. We don't know what's happening tomorrow on some level. And our relationship and connection with each other is that boat, that is going to be what we ride inside of as we meet all those challenges. And so this is why we do what we do as practitioners, is because we so believe in and we know how important it is to have our most important relationships, these attachment relationships in particular, functioning really well, because we're going to need each other's help. We're going to need each other's support.
Big time.
We're going to not want to do this alone. And you don't want to be feeling like even on a good day, you're not really paddling together, because as soon as something gets stressful and hard, you're not going to figure it out in that moment. It's just not realistic.
Right. So
there are lots of opportunities with day-to-day stuff. And then of course, when bigger things do happen, to practice, what if we were, moving towards security, which a lot of us work on in our relationships, what would that look like? What does that sound like? What do we have to believe about relationship? What do we have to understand about how the biology of attachment works so that we can respect it and honor it and use it to our advantage.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you're really attached to someone, you're willing to throw down for that person. You're willing to go through a lot of discomfort and challenge because you're so committed and because you know they need you and you know you need them. I mean, parent-child, we really can understand that better, I think. But partnerships have that same quality too. That, obviously our kids are dependent on us and they need us to protect them in ways that adults don't. But emotionally and psychologically, it means a lot to have someone at your side that believes in you and is going to show up for whatever storms are coming. And that's that feeling of secure attachment that like, we're going to be here tomorrow, no matter what happens, even though of course we don't know what's going to happen. Yep. But we believe in that idea and we practice that every day.
Yeah. And remember, this is like a choice. It's kind of like your business. Yeah. It gets so hard sometimes. You can't make emotional decisions like at the stock market. You can't just be like, I'm going to sell when everything's down. Yeah. You're going to lose. And when you get emotional, you just got to relax. And this is really hard. And I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to get help. And again, over time, because of your commitment to partnership and long-term relationship, and you're like, I'm not going anywhere. Again, outside of egregious, really awful, or traumatic really things.
Big. Yeah.
Of course. But in, most of the time, the conflicts and the communication breakdowns and all the money challenges and the sex challenges, they can all be dealt with inside of a relationship where I stand for myself, you, and us.
Yeah.
When we have that kind of mindset and then we practice that way, because it's directional. Like we're never going to get this perfect, but we're going to practice that as a team, and it's just going to happen for you if you stay with it. And it can be hard.
It can be hard depending on the kind of family culture we grew up in, the family attachment culture we grew up in. It's harder for some of us if they're depending on how much security was available. It can be really difficult to do this because it feels foreign, or it feels like we just can't imagine it being fair and equitable. Like we don't know that world. Yeah. But we can imagine it. We can imagine a lot of things. And if we believe in something, if we see the value in it, we can move towards it. We're that creative and we have that much capacity as humans. And we actually have more capacity when we're working together on something, and something as important as our relationship. So I've seen people make amazing strides in this that really thought they were on the brink, honestly, because they just didn't understand what was underneath some of their challenges. Now, this isn't the only thing we need to worry about as partners, but it's a layer that is impacting us. It's sort of like your posture. Your posture is like a foundational aspect of your body. And if your posture is compromised, then how you move, how much energy you have, how you breathe, how your digestion works, like it all gets affected. And so, improving one of those central core things, attachment, I see as one of those things psychologically. If we can keep that in mind, then things can start to flow and work better between us. It just will happen because we're handling that mammalian part of us that evolved for hundreds of thousands of years to be very social, very relational, very committed to each other, really, and to each other's survival and well-being. That part of us is at ease, feels safe in each other's presence and care. That frees us up. It's like it frees up your body when you align your spine and pelvis. Right. It just works better.
And just like that strong core and that spine and the way you are with your holding your posture, if you can do this well, you're more agile and you're more able to handle the storms of life. Whereas an insecure couple, they're just more brittle and fragile and open to external threats and challenges and money and sex issues and all the, health problems and anything that comes at you, you're just wobblier. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of benefits to getting this attachment stuff and working on it and working toward it, because life, you just don't know what's going to come at you.
Right.
It's going to bring a lot.
Right. And you don't want to become divisive when stress comes. Like that's what happens to a lot of couples is they kind of go against each other under stress versus coming together under stress, which is what we need to do. We need to be able to come together and work together and be there under stress. The last thing we need is to also have a huge adversarial feeling between the people we depend on most. So, but that is what happens to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, so as we wrap up here, hopefully you're getting something out of this. Yeah. And we're going to take another step next time.
Yeah.
And it seems like maybe attachment styles.
Yeah, we'll go into attachment styles. That'll be fun.
That's often a common next question. Yeah. Well, let's drill down into those a little more.
Yeah.
And there's two main styles, but there's a third. But yeah, we'll talk about that next, and we'll keep going. And we'd love it. Anything to add on that? I
do. I just want to kind of offer a little something for people to kind of take home with them.
Yeah, please.
Invitation to you. You might be like, well, how do I start to address this? Or like, oh my God, I hear us in this, but like, what do we do now? I would say in the meantime, to just see what happens if you think about conveying friendliness and care more often, more regularly to your partner through friendly gestures, through nonverbal means, through the way you look at them, the way you touch them. We're dealing with mammals here, and we really respond and are impacted by nonverbal communication. And so very clear, overt signals of friendliness and care and interest really can make a difference for a couple that's felt kind of disconnected or at arm's length, or like we're just in transactional kinds of interactions. Like if you just put that in your mind, like, and just watch what happens. Just like, I'm just going to see what happens in my connection. If we don't even have to talk about this, I don't have to bring this up with my partner. What if I just convey more care, friendliness, and interest through my body, through how I handle them? Just a little more. Maybe you think about it during a couple of your comings and goings during the day. Some of your hellos and goodbyes, especially. Those would be actually great times to make sure, when we're coming together or leaving. What if just taking a few moments to really convey to your partner, I care about you, I'm interested in you, I value you, without saying anything. What would that look like? And notice what happens. Yeah. If anything, you would get to decide if that makes any difference, feels any better between you, shifts anything in how you feel together.
Awesome.
What do you think?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. Please do that for me.
Okay. We can always do more of this. Like it really, I don't know, for us, like that's really good for both of us.
Yeah.
We're not, you can't overdo it. I don't think.
No.
Not when our lives are so busy and we're handling so much. It's like,
totally.
No. Yeah.
So, we would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to our podcast, become a follower on either Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts, and share with one friend. That would be awesome. An entrepreneurial couple friend or an individual, whatever, that's like, okay, I think this would help them. We'd love it. That would mean a lot as we grow here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, more to come.
Thank you.
Thanks.